Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Have everybody take a seat, please. We'll get started. Thank you. Good afternoon. For those who don't know me, Alex Hummel, Executive Director, University Relations Communications. Thank you for all being here in person and online today. We're so grateful to have you. We'll get underway. We'll get started. We have a lot of information to share as part of our State of UWO update. But before we get started, I just wanted to, as a moment together, maybe just share a brief moment of silence. I know Chancellor Singh shared with you all a message last week about the loss of a student here at UW-Oshkosh, Allie Blattner. She passed away very tragically, unfortunately, in an skiing accident. And I know we've all had opportunities to begin to process this, but we met with her family today, and we're grateful they were here. So if you wouldn't mind just joining me just briefly for a moment of silence as we remember Allie. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Like I said, we have a lot of information to bring you up to speed on today. And to get us started, please join me in welcoming Chancellor Manohar Singh.
Good afternoon. Thank you for that to the beginning of the new semester. Honestly, December, January were a little lonely. Students were not here, and now I see students walking around the corridors, and I can't even cross while riding my car, the crosswalks, and that's such a beautiful news. At the same time, I do peep into the offices and meet some of you, and I'm appreciative of the privilege that I have to be one of your colleagues. As I mentioned at the beginning of my career here, that I'll communicate as frequently and as transparently as possible. We're still calibrating as to what the frequency should be, what the forum should be, and what the content should be. Want us to touch into during these conversations, State of the Union, everything and anything we want to discuss, because it is not one management administration's university. It is not one faculty or staff or student. It's our university. It's our community. What we build, how we build, for who do we build? What challenges we face, what we envision us to be doing. How do we shape the world together rather than just being shaped by it? That's why these conversations are important. I also want to express my deep gratitude in all of you participating in the strategic planning forums. And that is stand today where we are going together. That said, the first semester of my being here and first semester last year of the current academic year, has been a beautiful journey from many, many different perspectives. We made some strides in the sense whether I was able to connect with you and learn from you at a personal level and at a professional level. So me, this was, when I say beautiful, I really mean this is because I have grown as a person, as a professional. I have found respect, love, care, all that matters to a human being. So thank you for that. I've also have been learning as to what it means to be a Titan. And the good news is I am making fruitful efforts to becoming a Titan, to be deserving, to be one like you. What does that mean here? Have I been productive? That should be the question. Answer is yes, in the sense, given where we were a few years back to where we are today and where we are slated to be, it is a positive trajectory. I see a rebound and I see a path to resurgence. And I see that path being carved by you all, building the bridges, breaking the silos, being innovative, looking at what your job that you day after day do, how does that relate to student success, student enrollment, fiscal stability of the university, our reputation, our brand, our care that we are known for, success of our alumni. This is all dimensions integrated. The success that we have seen and the challenges that you're seeing are shared. There's no one person, no one office that can claim the successes or claim the reason to be the challenge. Good news is we are in this together more than what I have experienced at many different universities. We have, if you look at the screen, fall to spring retention is at 91%. The numbers are steady or slightly improving in many different subgroups of the overall retention that we are. There are challenges, and I will not be the one shying of telling you the challenges are there in your first year retention rates, re-enrollment rates from fall to spring. There are challenges in terms of enrollments where we would be focusing on how do we yield more students from the direct admits, top of the funnel being really large. And my team is ready to take those challenges. We are being innovative. We are trying to invest some resources. We are figuring out, along with you, as to at the ground level where the rubber meets the road, what needs to be done. But the results are clear. We also, athletic programs, we all know women's flag football was launched this spring. They are practicing alive and well, and I'm so proud to see them being covered by the media, being covered by our alumni events. That is like a spring springing up with flowers blooming. That's one new chapter in our university. You see those students and athletes, and you see positivity all around. We are also making sure that program innovation continues, whether it is certificate programs for credit, not for credit, revenue generation through academic program offerings. We are innovating in those artificial intelligence areas, cybersecurity areas, and we will continue to do that. We are increasing our global footprint. I had the pleasure and the privilege of accompanying 12 nursing students along with 2 professors. Maria Graf is here and Heidi Hansen is here. I was able to meet with 5 presidents of 5 different universities, and we're going to be collaborating on student exchange, faculty exchange, recruiting some students into our nursing and non-nursing programs too. So we are going to be a university that has eminence and impact globally, while also making sure we are a regional comprehensive university responsible for how our taxpayer dollars are being utilized to serve our local, regional, rural, remote communities. They're not mutually exclusive. In fact, international students can be bringing you the revenue, and we can invest in our community. And the impact of every dollar spent in a university by whosoever, my $1 budget spent yields benefits from anywhere from $3 to $7, depending upon what region and what impact you're looking at. So that said, program innovation, outreach to students beyond and within state of Wisconsin, more athletic programs that will yield significant gains in not just the eminence and impact that I always talk about, but also in terms of enrollment itself. Athletes are students. We invest in them, and when they play, they're the biggest brand ambassadors of our university. Including me, I get a chance to show my yellow turban and black turban. Look at that guy there. And there's something personal about it. They are like my children. I see them as, so there was this little kid, when they won, there was a little kid really in the confetti on the floor. This was one of our colleagues' daughter. And I wanted to do the same exact thing with her. Seriously, I did. But then I remember I am the seventh of the seven boys and youngest child, and I have been a child forever. That's not the moment for me. Seriously, I really had to resist that so badly. But anyway, so we are doing the work. The athletic coaches, they're just so dedicated. I was with gymnasts yesterday. They were practicing. You feel like there's a bullet going on when this particular athlete was running to get into the wall. And the coach and I talked for 20 minutes. That's where the change is happening. National championships are just a result of how dedicated, how in love with the institution the coaches are, the students are. And then the new women's flag football, look at the proud faces that they have, and each one of them is so precious to us. There are questions, I understand, but universities are supposed to be not just the disseminators and creators of knowledge, but to producing human beings that are complete, conscientious leaders for tomorrow, because nations are built by these faces. Someone's daughters, someone's sisters, someone's brothers. That's who we are. I don't see in these numbers of strategic planning and enrollments and revenue generation numbers, despite my being a finance PhD and all that, I see these faces and I can identify and I can tell you that the work that you do is so meaningful, so impactful, that you and I cannot even fathom the impact, the ripples that will go for generations to come. That's who you are. Of course, we are looking forward to our library. And again, it's not the building. It's the spirit that the building will capture. It's where we will get together. It's where we will be intellectually stimulated. It's where we will challenge each other and say, no, I don't think your view is just one way, where we cross-fertilize the ideas, where we innovate, where we find discoveries, where we find each other. Those are the spaces in the libraries. And where we have discourses, discussions, disagreements, and then lifelong bonds. Now, programs are ranked. But what we are doing here is not chasing rankings by US World News and whatnot. You're chasing ranking. You go to a hospital, you go to a club, you go to a shopping mall. People say, your nursing program is really fantastic. I have gone to Phoenix and I've gone to at least 4 or 5 different, thanks to Chris Kantner for arranging alumni events. Everywhere, I can tell you, I am beaming with pride when alums walk up to me. Oshkosh changed my life. How can I help you? How can we support Oshkosh? There's a groundswell of affection. It's years of your hard work. Years of faculty mentoring students to be successful, and more than that, not just worldly successful, happy about, in gratitude about their life's successes, their life's not just successes professionally, but also the love they found. So many of the alums I met they found their spouses here. It's all about not just education, but everything that we do and we do together. It's a cliche to say we change the world. Actually, we do. Right? And then we change the world for human beings, but also for the good of the planet, the good of the global humanity, the good of the trees and the squirrels. I was there at the squirrel colony, and then I'm a finance guy, and I am not particularly I didn't grow up particularly among squirrels holding in hand, but that was the first time I ever did that. And it was like I was holding a child, and I then figured out what's the science behind them. What do you call it? Hibernating. And how can we learn? I was told, how can we learn from what they do for human beings? Biological revival after they hibernate, how do they recreate? Blindness is one aspect of that. Losing muscle versus losing fat is another one, etc. Even I felt like I should be learning, going back to the classroom and learning from the professors, and along with students who are going to Johns Hopkins and wherever, the top elite universities, and getting their internships. It's there we say, we are one step ahead. We just need to make sure the people that we are trying to attract to become part of our community, whether it is being a scientist, whether it is being a leader, or a musician, or an entrepreneur. I can keep talking about this. I'm getting signals from my colleagues that get down. I'm almost there. But then we should complement each other. We should thank each other for being such a cohesive, caring, harmonious group of people. It has been a fascinating experience for me to see how we envision our future together, how we envision our focus. There have been many, many, many forums, surveys, feedbacks, and the teams, whether it is PMG, whether it is steering committee, or whether it is going to be the subcommittees that are working on this, they have all responded. You have all responded by your participation. Students are excited about the strategic planning exercise and what comes out of that. Staff and faculty are contributing and shaping this. I can't wait to see the final results of these conversations as to, I want to see that rainbow that we are trying to paint. Where will it land? And I want to add not just to 7 colors of rainbow, but maybe 8, maybe 9. And you're like, this is great. As an education institution. And I always say, we are supposed to be the creators of knowledge, boundary expanders, whether it is your research or teaching or just preparing human beings confident, happy, full, without physically or mentally feeling deprived while going to college. And that is your 8th color of the rainbow. We add it every day. Let's keep doing that. Please, if you're a physicist, don't tell me that you're wrong. There are only 7 colors, etc. Be the poet. All right. I think now I should be bringing up Ed Martini for doing the real, sincere, serious work.
Thank you. Thanks, Chancellor. Good afternoon. Happy Titan Tuesday, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Want to give you a couple brief updates today. You hear a lot from me, and we got a lot of other people who we want to bring up on the stage today. So 3 areas that I'm going to cover, and then I'm going to turn it over to folks from our strategic planning team. Want to talk just a little bit more in depth from what Chancellor was talking about when it comes to curricular
development, curriculum innovation. I want to talk about everybody's favorite topic of Act 15. We'll give you a little bit of an enrollment snapshot for where we are sitting as we enter spring semester and how we look ahead to fall as well, and building on the important work that we've been doing this year. So let me start with curriculum development and program innovation. So a couple different ways we're thinking about this, but I think the most important thing, rather than any individual one program or two programs that we're developing, is the strategy with which we're thinking about this. If you think back to convocation last fall, we were talking about a new integrated approach to enrollment strategy and academic planning, building out programs, building out new modalities and delivery mechanisms for those programs to reach and better serve different segments of the student population. Still going to have our traditional undergrads who come to campus, live in the res halls, and go to football games, but need to stand up better programs that better deliver for those adult learners who are coming back, who are juggling full-time jobs and families, for those online learners, for those transfer students that we need to reclaim coming in from our tech school partners. So that's about relationships, that's about curriculum building, that's about articulation agreements. And it's thinking not just about what those critical areas are for workforce and economic development in our region, but are we delivering the right curriculum, the right programs, in the right delivery methods to consistently serve those populations. So we are looking at new program areas, looking at new graduate programs where we can build graduate enrollment, areas like engineering management, areas like criminal justice. We're also thinking about retooling some of our programs that might be more online now to be more hybrid, more face-to-face, to better serve those international students that the Chancellor was talking about, lining up the zip codes for those programs so that we can better attract students who are interested in those STEM-heavy zip codes, some of the work that our MBA team has been doing. Investing a lot of time and energy right now to better serve those transfer students, rebuilding relationships with Moraine Park, with Fox Valley Tech, with other two-year partners to make sure that we've got those seamless pathways for transfer students and the services to support them, but also exploring creative partnerships with schools like Lawrence and Ripon and other schools in the area. Collectively, we all serve Northeast Wisconsin, and we believe strongly that the future of higher education rests on partnerships. So we need to build those programs out with an eye towards partnerships, with an eye towards collaboration, not just beyond our schools and across our campus, but beyond our campus as well. So as we move forward, we are looking at new pathways, accelerated programs, 4+1s that can reduce the time and cost to degree for the students we serve, that can build new pathways into our existing graduate programs, but can also be a really great recruitment tool for those high-performing undergraduates as well. So as we look across the entire program array and program portfolio, we need to continue to think even more intentionally about what segments and what markets we are trying to serve, and then go after those markets aggressively and deliver that great experience that I know we can. When it comes to Act 15, we've got three big buckets that we are working on implementing. So number one, the last big bucket that we're just getting going on is the faculty and IAS workload bucket. So our office, especially with ABC Garrison, is working closely with Faculty Senate and academic staff for the IAS to put together the teams that are going to build out new workload policies to make sure that we are in compliance with those policies in Act 15 going forward. So we've got a lot of work left to do on that front, but I remain cautiously optimistic that we will be able to maintain a high degree of autonomy and flexibility to manage that workload locally and make sure that we can deliver on all aspects of our mission going forward, not just classroom instruction. On the other part, we are in the midst in real time this week of seeing the implementation of the market adjustments for those faculty in high demand fields. A lot of these timelines and communications have been driven by the universities of Wisconsin, so we know that there are still questions out there. Please keep sending those our way, and we will do our very best to answer those questions for faculty receiving or not receiving adjustments. And later this week, all faculty will be receiving an informational email from HR that includes information about their zip codes and about the Coupa data in their category. And so that can provide the basis for ongoing conversations if people have questions about those adjustments and those levels. More importantly, going forward, we recognize the need to address what is now a growing gap among faculty in different fields. And so Chancellor and I and our financial teams are working closely to identify those and come up with a plan to move forward and reduce and eliminate that gap. And just as importantly, we know that staff were excluded altogether from the Act 15 adjustment. So we know that it must be a strategic priority of this university going forward. And this has come loud and through in all the employee engagement sessions that we've done to find the funds and implement better workload adjustments and better salaries for all of our staff, all of our faculty, regardless of classification moving forward. It will be a priority for us. And then finally, the third bucket of Act 15 is a general education transferability bucket. We've done the curricular work we need to do. Thanks to everybody who made that happen. This one has been especially challenging from a timeline standpoint. And we are now in the phase where we are doing implementation. A lot of this work is going on behind the scenes, but make no mistake about it, this is a heavy lift. There are a lot of people putting in a lot of time and a lot of energy to make sure that our systems work, that we can enroll and register students for these new gen ed categories going forward. And a lot of this work over the next year or so is going to be very manual among that front. But in doing that, we are also building out new systems and integrating new platforms that are going to make it easier for our students, but also easier for our staff going forward. So my thanks to ABC Caroline Gary, Registrar Jenny Bonack and her team in the registrar's office, all the advisors, all the faculty who worked so hard on all the gen ed stuff over the last year or two. If you didn't get a chance to read all the way through the academic affairs update last Friday, there's a great table in there that Caroline and Jenny and team put together outlining new tools that are coming to campus. What is Stellic and what is that going to do for us and our students? What is Course Leap and what is that going to do for us and our students? Great new tools that are eventually going to make life a lot better. But in order to get there, a lot of hard work going on behind the scenes. So thank you to everybody for making all that work happen. Finally, let's turn to enrollment, which is the topic of the day. A little look at spring. As we were in fall, there are a lot of positive signs to point to. We have more first-year students starting with us in the spring. We have more new transfer students starting in the spring. We have more new graduates students starting with the spring. So even though the overall enrollment is still dipping a little bit because we are still losing more continuing students than we are adding new students, we are on our path, as you'll see into a moment, to full stabilization and being poised for enrollment growth. And as we go, and we can go to the next slide to kind of show what that looks like. So as you see here, fall on the left, spring on the right. For the last going on 8 or 9 years now, we were losing total enrollment in any given semester at a rate between 4 and 7%. That's a high rate of growth. That's impossible to replace from the current crop of new students that we are serving. So as you can see there, we are absolutely flattening the curve. Fall, we were down relative for the Oshkosh campus, only 1%. This spring, we're probably going to land somewhere around 2%. So we are flattening that curve. And if we continue the work that we are doing in a coordinated, collaborative, communicative fashion, both on the recruitment and the retention front, we're poised not just to continue flattening out that curve, but flatten it out and begin to see an upward trajectory of growth. So what does that look like as we look ahead to fall of 26? A lot of positive signs again in here. You can see admits are up, confirms are up. We started doing TTO registration earlier this year, and we're seeing the positive results from that. But we have to remember that we are living now in a direct admit world in Wisconsin, where it is easier than ever for high school students in Wisconsin to be directly admitted to the universities of Wisconsin who participate just by clicking a button based on their GPA. That is great for students. It's great for families. It's great for access, but it makes our job harder in terms of yielding those students. A couple of years ago, we had 6,000 applications for new first-year students. This year, we are likely to top 12,000 students. Just from last year, there are 50% more students participating in Direct Admit Wisconsin. Again, great news for access, great innovation by the universities of Wisconsin, but it makes our job of identifying who are those students who are serious about and committed to University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh that much more difficult. We do better with the students who don't come through direct admit when we look at those yield rates at about a 2-to-1 ratio. So we need to improve across the board as we're doing this critical work. So this week we'll go through census. We'll report out on what that census looks like in the year ahead for spring. But now we immediately pivot into yielding for the fall 26 class. And more than ever, we are again working collaboratively across all divisions, across all of our academic and enrollment units to come up with a yield plan that will bring in next year's class. Each of our 6 new schools has a customized yield plan that they have built in concert with enrollment management to personalize and customize that experience, to make them feel like they are Titans and to build that affinity with us as an institution. So as we roll fully into TTO season, every single one of us has a role to play both in recruitment and retention. Our academic and enrollment teams are doing a great job with this. And more than ever, we need this to be a campus-wide effort. There is a role for facilities and grounds to play. There's a role for parking to play, housing, dining, everyone here at Reeve. This is a team effort that we need everybody's full participation in throughout the spring, throughout the summer, and rolling into next fall. And just as I have been over the last 2 years, I am confident in the trajectory that we are on because of the coordinated efforts that we are putting into place, because the campus-wide collaboration is better than ever in those efforts. We are poised to break through, flatten that curve, and poised for growth moving forward. But it will be a team effort, and I'm confident we can do that. With that, I'm going to turn it over to members of our Strategic Planning Steering Committee, our two fabulous co-chairs, Angie Zemke and Mickey Dirks-Levy, to tell you a little bit more about Oshkosh Infinite.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And we're just going to talk a little bit about all the work that's been being done since you participated in those listening sessions back in the fall. So surveys were filled out during those sessions, and community sessions broadened the conversation. We were just in Appleton, and previous to that, we were in Oshkosh and had a lot of community members come in and participate and help validate some of the data. The steering committee has met frequently and reviewing data. We just met this morning again, reviewing some more data, and we keep looking at it and passing that information out to the sub groups that are really taking that and starting to build our plan. So through all that data, we definitely had 4 themes clearly emerge. And during looking through the data, the steering committee kind of met, talked, and we refined it down to these 4 areas. And I kind of look at it this way, where I'm kind of like, this is kind of internal themes. Flow between the themes, all of them codependent on one another. So really what clearly came out from the listening sessions was student experience and belonging, number 1. So that is our main focus. We had some great data this morning from institutional effectiveness that really kind of talked about what does that mean, and helping share that information with the steering committee, which will also go out to the subgroups. I think we really have some great direction to go with that. Employee excellence and development, lots of listening sessions are happening. If you haven't participated and you don't have time to participate, that's okay. Participate in their survey. Get your voice heard in that. Reputation, community engagement. This one is being done both internally and externally. We're looking out in the community and trying to get their feedback and their input, and great surveys designed ability. We're really going to be focusing on that. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Angie.
Thank you. So one of the things that's been really cool about being a part of the steering committee is just sitting in community with people who live and breathe the Titan experience so strongly. And sitting in sessions about honest and transparent conversations, but also the ideation that comes from being in a space like that has been really cool to see. But we realize that we're not the only ones who live and breathe the Titan experience. It's all of you who are here with us today, joining online, the members of our community who care so much about this institution. And so it was really important that more people were able to be brought into the fold. And so subgroups were created in each of these categories. And we wanted to make sure that we identified who those folks are. So if there's a name you recognize, if there's a theme that really connects with you, please feel free to reach out to any of them, participate in the listening sessions, fill out the surveys, because that's really the best way to continue to communicate with us. So the Student Experience and Belonging group that's led by Alicia Studeman also has Yoko Mogi-Hine, Heidi Nichols, Sarah Gressley, and student Jaden Punzel. The Employee Excellence and Development team, led by Shauna Keither, has Eliza Farrow, Sarah DeArmond, Jill Bangert, and Michael Patton. Institutional Reputation and Community Engagement, led by Sierra Skinjaleski, has Amy Albright, Samantha Larson, and Mike Leader. And then Institutional Innovation and Resilience, led by Brad Spanbauer, has Stuart Cole, Doug Salmon, and Liz Christopher. So we encourage you, if there's, again, a name you recognize, we have a lot of the steering committee in the room today. We really encourage you to continue to participate in the process. This plan is going to be for the people who are going to help bring it alive. And so the more you participate, the more we can create a plan that we can all recognize and see ourselves in and really help catapult UW-Oshkosh into the future. So if you go to the website, you can see not only the upcoming listening sessions that remain, but if you scroll all the way to the bottom, all of the names that I shared are listed there as well. So please feel free to reach out to us at any point in time. Otherwise, you also see our faces, so you can reach out to us as well. And then our goal is, so kind of talking about next steps, so we're entering phase 3 of the process, is that we're going to start drafting that plan based off of all the feedback we received. So our goals are hopefully going to be shared with shared governance in the middle of March. So we can continue to assess the data and the feedback that we got to make sure that we're heading in the right direction, that people can see themselves and believe in the plan. And we will continue to move on our timeline. We seem to be doing a pretty good job of staying on task. So hopefully you all will continue to participate with us and continue to cheer us on as we kind of go through this process. But thank you all for your participation.
Now for a finance and administration update, which I will not be giving. Let me turn it over to Corey Finkelmeyer. Corey, take it away.
People hear me okay? Okay, great. Well, so good afternoon and thanks for everyone being here. I brought this. So there's a lot of things that I need to get through, and I do appreciate the off the cuff that everyone else can perform, but I think it's really important that I make the record here for the university. So good afternoon. My goal today is to provide a clear snapshot of where we have been recently, where we are, highlight the work that's happening across campus, and talk about where we're headed together. This is very much a shared effort, and I'm grateful for the collaboration I see every day from faculty, staff, and students. So I want to start where I think everyone wants me to start, which is discussion of our budget and where we are. I'm pleased to say that we are trending in a positive direction. As you can see, we finished fiscal year 25 with a positive unrestricted funds balance of $5.3 million. This was a significant improvement over our fiscal year 24 position, which was negative $1.3 million. The reasons for this improvement have been well discussed over the last couple of years. IRP 1 and IRP 2 yielded significant savings for our campus and put us on much more stable ground. Importantly, UW System just notified us of its budget to actuals report, showing our position as of December 2025. We are pleased to say we are tracking lower on our expense side and are aligning with where we should be as of December. The question is then, what are we doing to remain stable? We're taking a multi-pronged approach to remaining stable. First, and most importantly, we are being disciplined in our position control. Every open position or proposed new position is put through a rigorous review before approval. Maintaining restraint and being strategic in what positions we fill is the cornerstone of sustaining fiscal discipline. Second, we are constantly looking at all non-personnel expenses with an eye toward cost cutting. All vendor contracts and travel are under review as part of our plan to maintain a stable budget. Moreover, we continue to work together on strategies to achieve real-time utilities savings. Third, we're looking to increase revenue wherever possible. As noted earlier by Chancellor Singh and Provost Martini, we are looking to increase and maintain enrollment through strategic investments and good old-fashioned hard work. Recruitment and retention, as Provost Martini pointed out, is everyone's job, and we all need to take that seriously. In addition to our recruitment and retention efforts, we are also looking to increase the use of our facilities by way of third-party rentals. It is important that we do all that we can with the space that we have. And before I move on from the discussion of the budget, I do want to extend a special thank you to Faculty President Nathan Stewart for his collaboration with our budget team over the last several months. We had the opportunity to spend a good amount of time with Nathan and Professor David Fuller in the fall, going over budget information, answering questions, and getting feedback from them. We have some upcoming meetings with some other faculty members slated for later this spring or later this month, and we appreciate that opportunity. This is something that we're going to continue. The transparency to us is key, and I hope that is noticed and is appreciated because we appreciate what you bring us. So as we already noted, we are doing what we can to reduce energy waste. Facilities and sustainability continue to work together on strategies to achieve real-time utility savings, but they need your help. Many of our campus buildings have aging infrastructure, as we all know. Please know that by submitting work orders when you notice issues is critical so we can evaluate them properly and address them in a timely manner. Last year, as many of you know, we saved $750,000 just on utility savings alone. And I just want to give you an update where we are as we sit here today. We're approximately 58% through the year and have spent about 59% of our utilities budget. So we're ticking a little higher. Obviously, the last couple of weeks in January have increased usage, and that has affected us in a negative way. Also, natural gas prices have increased 25% in the last year, too. While our electricity savings continue, they are a little less robust than they were before. So please know that each one of you has a role to play in utility savings. Simple actions such as turning off lights, projectors, and equipment when not in use make a very meaningful difference. They really do. We ask that everyone does their part to make that difference. If you have any questions about how to make that difference, please don't hesitate to reach out to Brad Spanbauer or me, and we'd be happy to talk to you. Human resources has been focused on position control in particular, but in pursuing cost savings while addressing its ongoing challenges. Key areas of HR's focus include strengthening position control, continued collaboration around workday processes, and improving consistency and continuity of service. And as we move forward in the strategic planning, HR's work will increasingly align with that, and we'll have a stronger emphasis on employee engagement, clear communication, professional development, and sustainable people-centered practices. So we look forward to the coming year on that. Across campus, steady progress continues on a wide range of capital and facilities projects to build a more sustainable UWO. Projects nearing completion are our emergency generator installations, HVAC upgrades, and roofing and interior renovations. Planning and design continue for larger initiatives, of course, like Polk Library, the steam line improvements, building demolitions, and the Titan Stadium roof replacement. So every day, our facilities teams support daily campus operations through space planning, furniture upgrades, custodial work, signage coordination, and safety improvements. So a big thank you to them. Another opportunity to build a more sustainable UWO comes in our grounds and fleet area. The demolition of Radford, Donner, and Webster, along with the burial of the pipes in the center of campus this spring, creates an opportunity to, yay, I heard that. I'll never forget my first day when I saw that. So that will give us an opportunity to reimagine our campus. So as planning continues, campus input will be essential, an important part of shaping those spaces. Please know that we'll be engaging with campus as we move forward with the vision on grounds. Please note also that fleet management has been centralized within facilities to improve safety, consistency, and cost control. This work has clarified vehicle needs, removed unsafe or outdated vehicles from service, and refreshed the fleet through life cycle planning. This was a long-awaited change, and I really do appreciate what has happened there. I know it's a big change for a lot of folks, but it is the best thing for our fleet. We have a much safer and more reliable fleet now, and we know that everyone appreciates that. On information technology, our IT area, this touches nearly every part of the university. Teaching, learning, research, student support, and just run-of-the-mill daily operations. I'm pleased to report that our foundation is strong, core systems are stable, networks are dependable, and our teams work continuously to ensure those supports. This is really important to note. Cybersecurity remains IT's top priority. It's important that you all know that UW-Oshkosh received the highest security score in the UW system for websites and network resources. So that's an achievement that reflects on everybody here. So thank you. In 2025 alone, our IT staff closed out more than 13,000 support tickets. That's a big number. In the last several months, particularly, IT has strived to be a stronger partner in the evolving area of artificial intelligence. IT has emphasized responsible and thoughtful use to support instruction operations and decision-making. Looking ahead, we are shifting from a reactive IT to a more strategic IT, aligning technology decisions and more regularly. My commitment to all of you is to find ways to become even better partners in this space. Our events and conference services continue to be a very strong area for us. The winter commencement was redesigned this year to reflect the new college and school structure. With one ceremony under our belt, we're very excited for the spring commencement and looking forward to that being even better than before. The 2026 camps and conferences season begins on June 12th, with 25 camps already confirmed. These are huge revenue drivers for us, and we are putting a lot of time and energy into those. EAA 2025 generated $1.1 million in revenue, the second highest total since 2006. And planning for EAA 2026 is underway, with campus housing already at 80%. In many positive ways, several new hires and promotions. We're progressing towards full staffing, near completion of the Lincoln Hall move, and expanded data-driven policing and training initiatives. This semester, UW-OPD will offer campus training opportunities, including active threat preparedness, drug awareness and opioid response, CPR, and Stop the Bleed. A new social media campaign is also being developed to increase student awareness of safety resources. UW-OPD is also working closely with UW-Madison on emergency management and continuity of operations planning. We're exploring this is a very exciting development. We are exploring a part-time officer program that would allow students to graduate professional law enforcement experience. So stay tuned for more information on that. Consistency across campus. They focus on contracts administration and compliance workflows, development of BP Logics forms, responding to public records requests, 54 in just the last year, open meetings compliance, and several ongoing internal audits and follow-up related to those. One thing that I wanted to make sure that I impressed upon everyone here, please remember that only those with designated signature authority may sign contracts on behalf of UW-Oshkosh. I don't mean to be a scold, but if anyone has any questions about that, I am more than happy to meet and discuss that. So just let me know. And then the Digital Accessibility Initiative, just a quick update on that. UW-Oshkosh, we're actively engaged in a campus-wide initiative focused on student-facing and public-facing digital materials. A collaborative cross-campus project team is leading that work. Our federal compliance deadline is April 24th, 2026. And we have made tremendous progress in the last several months. So thank you to everyone who has been a trainer, attended training, or simply engaged in thoughtful collaboration. So in sum, we are moving forward in a positive direction because everyone across the division and campus is working in a thoughtful and collaborative way to support the university's mission. People in every department and area are stepping up and asking what they can do to make this a stronger and more vibrant UW-Oshkosh. I'm incredibly grateful that we have so many dedicated teams, that we have clear priorities and a shared commitment to create an environment where students, faculty, and staff can succeed. Thank you all for your engagement, your feedback, and your continued partnership. I look forward to continuing the work with you. Thanks.
Thank you, Corey. And now we'll introduce Dr. Kate Demers, our Assistant Chancellor and Dean of Students. Kate, please.
Thank you, Alex. Like Corey, I do better when I'm scripted, but unlike Corey, I'm not 8 feet tall. Just give me one moment. Good afternoon. I'm so pleased to be here. When we talk about student success and retention, we often focus, and appropriately so, on outcomes, credits earned, persistence rates, graduation numbers. Today, I want to share some of the work that happens between these data points, the daily intentional efforts that help students stay, succeed, and feel that they belong here. Student Affairs sits at the intersection of students' academic, personal, and community experiences. And this year, our focus has been on designing systems, spaces, and supports that reduce barriers, increase connection, and respond to what students need to thrive. One of the strongest themes across our work this year is intentional design for student success. Along with our important campus partners, we've made meaningful progress in ensuring that support is not dependent on navigating complexity or knowing the right person, but instead is built into clear, equitable pathways. In our disability and accessibility work, for example, CATER has moved towards greater clarity, consistency, and collaboration, implementing structured review processes, expanding advising capacity, and strengthening cross-campus partnerships to ensure that our students receive timely, high-quality support. These efforts aren't just about compliance, as Corey talked about. They're about access to learning and full participation in the university experience. That same mindset is reflected in other practical ways across student affairs. In dining, we've paired operational efficiency with the student experience, using food, shared spaces, and campus events to build connection and belonging, which we know are critical to our students' retention. Within the Student Health Center, new coordinated initiatives for peer-to-peer health education are creating clearer pathways into student support and education for the mental and physical health of our students. And in residence life, redesign transition moments, such as early drop and go move-in and more intentional housing enhancements to create updated, open, comfortable spaces are reducing stress and helping our students establish early stability and connection, setting the foundation for continued enrollment and success here at UWO. Together, these efforts demonstrate how thoughtful, student-centered design directly supports retention by making the university experience more navigable, supportive, and engaging. What all of this reflects is the university's continued shift from reactive support to proactive coordinated care. A second clear theme is that retention happens through belonging, connection, and early intervention. Our students stay here when they feel seen, supported, and connected to people, to purpose, and to place. This year, our counseling center and health center teams have continued to meet rising student need with professionalism and with compassion, providing crisis support, expanding telehealth connections, promoting wellness, and maintaining nationally recognized standards of care. Our institution now ranks among the highest in the universities of Wisconsin for connecting students to mental health services through our telehealth partner, Mantra Health, which speaks, thank you, which speaks to both need and to trust. This work in tandem with the Dean of Students Office through the Behavioral Intervention Team is critical to the support and the retention of our students. Across campus, engagement spaces have also played a powerful role in connection. Nearly half of our student population is using student recreation facilities each month, and our sports club program continues to grow. The reunion programming saw significant growth in attendance, including our strongest homecoming engagement in years, including the largest homecoming port since 2008. Programs like Titan Nights and spaces like the Hub continue to create opportunities for our students to find community, sometimes in ways that surprise us, like friendships formed at a speed friending event that staff still see around campus months later. And in residence life, as mentioned, we piloted a new drop and go move-in option that dramatically reduced stress for students and their families. By the time of official move-in, 67% of our residents had already had their belongings in their rooms, creating calmer halls, smoother transitions, less traffic, and a more welcoming start to the year. It's a small shift with a big impact on how students experience their first days on campus. And we thank each and every one of you who volunteered for both drop and go and traditional move-in. We couldn't do it without you. The last theme I want to highlight is strategic innovation aligned with institutional and state priorities. This year, we launched Titan Tough, a new initiative supporting first-generation, low-income, rural, and farming family students, groups that are critical to Wisconsin's workforce future and often face unique barriers to persistence. This program reflects a growing emphasis on data-informed support, targeted outreach, and measurable outcomes tied directly to retention and to belonging. We also celebrated the renewal of our TRIO SSS and STEM grants, securing $3.7 million in federal funding over the next 5 years. These programs, now in their 51st and 11th years at UWO respectively, continue to demonstrate strong, persistent academic standing and graduation outcomes for participating students. At a time when access-focused programs face increasing scrutiny, this renewal is both a point of pride and a testament to effectiveness. I want to close on a couple points of pride. After nearly 2 years offline, the reopening of Dr. Boyland University Hall represents more than a renovated building. It is a renewed commitment to community, to accessibility, and to shared space on this campus. The Student Health Center earned reaccreditation through AAAHC following an extensive written and on-site review, ensuring their accreditation status for another 3 years. This will ensure continued operational excellence and patient care for our students. And lastly, we've been thoughtful stewards of resources. We will begin a new dining services contract in May, which is projected to save the university approximately $500,000 annually, while still enhancing student engagement and community building through food-centered programming and partnerships. I'm so grateful for our staff, for their leadership, their commitment to national best practices, and the care they show our students every day. I'm proud of the scale of impact we're seeing, from accessibility and healthcare to engagement, housing, and belonging. And I'm so proud that so much of this work happens through collaboration with academic partners, facilities, faculty, student leaders, and one another. Student success doesn't belong to just one division, but Student Affairs is proud to be a place where strategy meets care, where students experience, in very real ways, the university's commitment to them. Thank you for the opportunity to share this work, and thank you to the many colleagues who make it possible every day. Now I'd like to invite shared governance to the stage, beginning with Faculty Senate President Nathan Stewart.
Two things not to put on my teacher voice since I have a microphone and not to wander over there because the microphone is here. But I'll do my best. And I'm about 10 minutes later coming up than I expected. And so I'm going to turn on podcast 2.0 times. No, I won't do that either. But I'm going to sort of get right to the point. There might be a slide that could come up. Things have happened in the fall. You think about observing a building going up, you can see lots of great stuff on the outside, and then all of a sudden nothing happens for a long time while I do the work on the inside. So we got some things done in the fall, the Act 15 stuff, and I've got a bullet here for Faculty Senate, but again, all of that groundwork was done and all of the legwork was done by so many other people. We finally did the approval. The back office stuff is happening now, registrar. I won't get everybody right if I try, so I'll stop there. But Faculty Senate's also representing our collective hope for higher education, that we maintain control and agency on our campus for how we present ourselves and the flavor of what higher education means at UW-Oshkosh. So we interact with the regents and with the system to try to stand up for keeping that control locally as best we can. And so we did that also in the fall. We've got a policy integrating work between coaches, athletes, and faculty to make sure that the right things are happening when student athletes need to be off campus for events. So those are things that are happening in the fall, but a whole lot more is happening. The provost shared information about Act 15. I'm not going to go into anything further there for now. There's a lot more that's going to happen this spring. The metaphor but we will get through it. So spring 2026, and my shared governance president colleagues, we were sort of said, so what's happened and where are we going in the spring? And I'm going to say some things. I think they will echo and resonate with all of our senates and all of our constituencies. They will come up and say other words as well. But we're going to try to continue to be positive. We are in this together. We are still trying to get to the same outcomes, collective effort. We will, as Faculty Senate, continue to advocate for more and better information, more and better time in the room and discussions on important things going on campus. And there's been progress there. We now are invited to the Space Planning Committee. So I'm very hopeful that those kinds of things will continue. And so we'll continue to work with admin, campus, members of all constituencies on campus, community members, employers, right? Those who are hopeful that our students will come and work for them at some point. The UW system, where we have ongoing interactions. The Gen Ed policy is interim and is open for comment still. So if you have things you'd like to see change, we have that opportunity still. Elected officials, right? All of these groups, we all have to work together to advocate for the higher education we deserve. And this is my broader message for what we want to focus on in the spring, right? Higher education. That colleagues in all academic fields are recognized and valued for what they bring to our collective pursuit, and not just that they're promoting and teaching people in the STEM field, right? My colleagues in English, my historian colleagues, my colleagues in the arts. And I know the provost is with us, and we're getting forums put in place to begin to have these conversations on campus. What does UW-Oshkosh look like in recognizing and supporting those folks in their fields the way we really want them to be? And I'm thrilled to see sustainability peppered throughout the other presentations in both an economic and an aspirational way. And I think that's our campus identity, where we want to be interdisciplinary, we want to be integrated across our schools. Sustainability is one place I think we can create that space and be known for that and market ourselves and brand ourselves in that way. And so we want to keep pushing that to be the best group of human faculty, colleagues working together that we can be. So that's the faculty, that's my constituency, but I also want to come together with colleagues in all positions across campus and all jobs so that we're all feeling respected and valued and on a solid path for developing in the way we all want to develop as humans here as part of this community. And I've been part of listening sessions on that employee excellence side this past week. And it is a strong place where we can make serious improvements and serious strides toward campus morale, toward campus collaboration and community. And so I will work with my colleagues for all constituencies, for all shared governance members to move in that direction. And why do we do those two things? It's because that's going to help us produce graduates, both undergraduate graduates and graduate graduates, with the skills and the maturity to succeed as productive and civil members of whatever community they become part of. Because if we can demonstrate and live that as our UW-Oshkosh community, they will catch on and they will absorb it and they will take it away with them into the world. And that's what I'm going to strive for in 2026 and beyond. I've got another 3 semesters in this role, so you'll see me again, I hope. And now I'd like to introduce Chrissy Lambie, who's the president of the Senate of Academic Staff.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have some scripted notes here because I have the memory of a goldfish, so stick with me here. So I just wanted to share a brief update on what we're working on and focusing on this term for Senate of Academic Staff. First, we're continuing work on updating the academic staff handbook. After consultation with the Office of General Counsel and the University of Wisconsin HR, we will be focused on ensuring the handbook language is current. If anyone has seen any of the 1988 information that's out in some of these handbooks, we want to make sure it's current, clear, and aligned with how our policies and practices function today. Second, we're reviewing the teaching assistant professor progression and titling. This includes exploring options for titling and more accurately reflecting instructional roles and responsibilities, as well as helping to bring greater clarity and consistency to the review and progression policies. This intent is to support equity, transparency, and meaningful progression growth across instructional academic staff roles. Third, we're actively contributing to the university's strategic planning process. Shared governance representation helps ensure academic staff and instructional staff perspectives are included, particularly around workload, professional development, the essential role of academic staff and instructional staff play in student success, and the institutional sustainability. We're also approaching this work with a strong commitment to collaboration, which Nathan had shared with all of you a little bit before. We continue to work in partnership with our faculty senate, university senate, and student government, recognizing that shared governance is most effective when we communicate openly, align our efforts, and support one another across our roles and constituencies. Finally, we remain engaged in academic forum, listening to concerns, elevating ideas, and ensuring academic staff and instructional staff voices are represented in ongoing conversations across campus. As a reminder and an invitation, shared governance only works when academic staff and instructional staff are present and engaged. The Senate of Academic Staff is a space where decisions are shaped, perspectives are heard, and priorities are influenced. To borrow from the musical Hamilton, because I saw it last week for the 3rd time, this is where you get to be in one of the rooms where it happens. So we encourage you to attend our Senate meetings, participate in discussions, and bring forward what's happening in your units, because your voice matters, and most of all when it's part of the conversation. I want to close with expressing sincere appreciation to those who have engaged in shared governance in so many ways over the last few months through meetings, conversations, feedback, and collaboration. Your time, insight, and commitment truly strengthen this work. So thank you, and we look forward to continuing that into the spring of 2026. I'm going to turn it over to my friend Ali Kundi, Senate, University Senate President. All right, well, thank God they gave us a podium this time because I am vibrating and sweating, but you can't see it because I'm behind a podium. So thank you for that decision. I appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to thank Chancellor Singh for the invitation to speak and the opportunity to share updates from University Staff Senate. I truly appreciate being included today. I will admit, when I received the invitation to speak today, my first thought was gratitude, and my second was panic. Public speaking has never been my favorite activity. I much prefer a well-crafted email. But I care deeply about our staff, and that makes standing up here today worth it for me. I'm here today to share a couple updates from University Staff Senate. This past summer into fall, Senate dedicated significant time and effort to revising our bylaws. While that might not sound glamorous, it was important and necessary work for us. One of the biggest changes we made was broadening the categories for Senate representation. Previously, divisional restrictions sometimes left seats empty simply because our structure didn't reflect the way our staff roles are distributed across campus. By moving to broader categories, we've reduced barriers to future participation. More staff from more units can now serve, and we're less likely to have empty seats due to technicalities. Our goal is simple: representation that actually represents our UWO campus. We want Senate to reflect the diverse roles, departments, and perspectives that make this university function. In addition to bylaw revisions, I know, getting crazy, we're actively working on revamping our staff awards and expanding professional development opportunities. We want our awards to feel meaningful, accessible, and celebratory. We also know professional growth matters deeply to staff, not just as employees, but as people. We are exploring ways to strengthen development offerings and ensure staff feel supported in growing their skills and pursuing advancement. Many speakers today have shared updates about strategic planning, so I won't repeat what's been said, but I do want to take a moment to thank our university staff. The participation from staff in this process has been outstanding, from attending listening sessions to engaging in discussions to completing surveys. You showed up. You gave thoughtful, candid, and constructive feedback. That engagement matters. It demonstrates how invested our staff are in the future of this institution. I am extremely optimistic that this strategic planning process will create meaningful opportunities for additional support, recognition, positive changes. You heard Ed, he said raises today. Your voices have been heard, and that gives me hope. Before I close, look at me, he's so mad. Before I close, I want to speak directly to supervisors for a moment, if I could, because in the last couple weeks in listening sessions and just throughout the semester, I've heard this from our staff. Our staff are tired. They're committed, hardworking, resilient, but they feel stretched thin and a lot of times unappreciated. Recognition does not have to be complicated. It doesn't require formal programs or large budgets. It can be a 30-second email acknowledging a project that's been completed, a shout out in a staff meeting to highlight someone's contribution, walking to someone's desk and simply saying, "Thank you. I see the work that you're doing today." Small acts of appreciation have a significant impact. They build morale, they build trust, and they remind people that their work matters. As we look ahead through strategic planning, organizational shifts, and continued change, I believe one of the most powerful things we can do as a university is strengthen our culture of appreciation. Our staff are the backbone of this university. When they feel valued, the entire institution is stronger. One final thought for me is to remind university staff they're always welcome to attend our Senate meetings. I kind of made it turn into a little bit of an infomercial. I'm sorry about that. Those dates and times are on the wall behind me. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today, and thank you sincerely to all of our university staff for the work you do.
And thank you all for being here today, joining us online. So appreciative. Before we break and invite you all to join us maybe for an extra cookie and coffee or tea back there, hang out a little bit if you can. I just wanted to make two more quick introductions if we could. And the first is, as the Chancellor already had previously announced electronically, we really want to welcome today our new University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh Chief Financial Officer, Dr. Mahinder Dugal. He's here up front. Would you please say hello, Mahinder? Mahinder also joins our executive team here at UW-Oshkosh and executive council. So we're so grateful to have you here with us this week. Also, one more introduction regarding our executive council, and that is our Assistant Chancellor and Chief Human Resources Officer, Shauna Keither, is also a part of the council. Shauna, would you please rise and just be recognized? Thank you. So thank you both for stepping forward and serving in that capacity. We're just a little I miss it. We can also share it with you down the line. Please feel free to hang out a little bit. Love to catch up with you. And again, thank you all. We're off to a great start this semester. Let's keep the momentum going at UW-Oshkosh. Thank you.
Hi.